for a period of time, and then we just found ourselves working together all over the place. And so when this opportunity came up for a grant-funded instructional designer, I happened to be talking to Eleni about something else entirely, and she was available. And let me tell you that instructional designers are not available right now. In this world of COVID, instructional designers have 15 extra jobs. So thank you, Eleni, for being here and being available to do this for us. So I am going to pass the torch to Nico and Eleni. I just wanted to be here and show my support and tell you I am so excited that you're doing this. Thank you so much. And I wish you well in your 5 hacks to make your Canvas site sing, right? Awesome. Thanks, everybody. Have a good session.
Thanks. Thank you, Arminta. Yes, and thank you all for coming and showing up. I wasn't sure how many would show up. We're going to try to do these colloquia every other Thursday or so, though we do have one that's a little bit, Philip, who's agreed to do it, has a conflicting date. So one of them won't happen. It won't happen on that Thursday. What we have scheduled right now, our next one is going to be on video production, from the finished video to the one take, sort of to try to see how, when we're teaching at a distance, how to be able to make, if not compelling videos, at least functional videos that students can take part in, from 1 minute sort of quick takes to actually recording lectures or longer. The one I just mentioned, teaching making at a distance, this is going to be more for a studio faculty, and to discuss Philip and some others, maybe some from the MFA faculty, we'll be talking about the experience of how to use Canvas and how to teach art, studio art, from a distance, and the challenges and maybe even some of the opportunities. The fourth one I have listed is more of a philosophical one, which is we're calling Decolonizing Tech with Margaret Brownlee, who's our new diversity officer at MECA, and talking about some of the challenges of using technology when students don't have equal access to that technology, and how to get over that, if we can get over that. And finally, to round out the semester, I'm hoping to do one on I'm calling a pedagogical self-assessment, what worked and what didn't in fall 2020. And that I'm really open to whoever would like to join in. I'm even thinking to just have it as a sit down where we can talk about what worked for us, what the opportunities and the unexpected opportunities were about teaching, and also what the challenges were and where tech just didn't stand up to what we were doing and how we had to change it. And with the idea of projecting into spring 2020, when, whether we like it or not, I think a lot of us are going to be online, and probably fall 21. And, if you follow the CDC, we're looking like spring 22 before we actually are out of this. Sorry to lay that all on you, but that's breaking news from yesterday. So I'm going to turn this over right now to Eleni, who's going to take us through 5 hacks to make Canvas sing. They're open to questions. If you want to post questions, unmute your microphone and ask some questions. You can also punch into the group chat. I'm not very good at going back and forth between talking and group chat, showing my age, but if you're more comfortable with that, please feel free to. Eleni.
Great, thank you. So thanks everyone for being here. We are going to go through 5 hacks, as Nico said, and I'm going to start by sharing my screen and showing folks how to log into Canvas. So I've actually had this is not one of the hacks, but I have had some folks that have had a hard time finding the Canvas login. So just in case you need it, it's https://canvas.meca.edu. So instead of having to go into the MECA website and then going into Canvas that way, this is an easy way to get into Canvas. So the first hack we're going to talk about is how to use discussions for interactive presentations. So this is my dashboard, and I'm going to go to, I already have it open, I'm going to go to the ID 101. So in this course, discussions is over here on the left, and so it's going to be for all courses. But in particular, for this course, there are a few discussions that have been posted. So the idea behind discussions is that you can continue your conversations with your students that you have in class, that you have synchronously, so when you're doing something like this with them, or you can have discussions that are asynchronous and they just continue. You can have them have assignment dates where they have to post by a certain day and then reply to students. So there's a lot of different ways you can approach discussions. And here it's a layout of how you might use groups and collaborations, submissions, discussions, and initial thoughts. So if you want access to this, this course, just let me know. So discussions are really helpful in keeping the students engaged. My suggestion is usually to have them be some sort of point-based and be really, really clear with when they need to respond to your question and when they need to respond to their peers. So usually folks say, well, we've got a lawnmower going on outside. Normally instructors or faculty will have the discussion, they'll give them 3 to 4 days, and then the discussion question, and then the students have to reply to their peers within a couple days after that. So if we click on let's chat about it. So we are on the instructor side of Canvas, not the student side. So this is not what students see. There's the introduction, so you can integrate it with a picture. My picture is not loading today. And then there's the prompt that comes from the instructor. And so the prompt here is, how can discussions enhance student learning? What was the discussion topic you created in your course? So if we scroll down, folks have replied, and this is what it's going to look like on the back end for faculty. So enhance student learning because they involve active learning, engage students with each other, and help students learn from each other. And that's something that when it's in the classroom, a lot of times discussions have to end, because if it's face-to-face, you're done, you have to leave. So what's really great about this is if you've got a really rich discussion going on, say it's face-to-face or you're doing it via Zoom like we are, you can put that same conversation can be had here in Canvas. And that's one thing I really love about online learning will never be like face-to-face, but there are ways we can make it still just as rich in different ways. So that's the introduction to discussions. Making sure your discussion questions are not single answers, that they are they're open-ended. So really making sure there's not like a yes or no answer, and being clear with your students about what's expected of them. So if you're looking to create a discussion, we're going to go to discussions, and you'll usually want to use the middle box here, or you can just go up to plus discussion. So you'll put in your topic, you'll put in your question, and then down below, you can either, if you want to reference an attachment, if you want to insert a video, if there's anything you want to put in that the students you'd like the students to talk about, this is where it would go. And so as we look down, there are some options here if you want to grade it, and we'll talk a little bit about that later at the end of today, about what happens when you grade something and where it shows up. And you can have students engage with each other. Usually I won't recommend clicking allow threaded replies because it makes it really long and it's hard to follow. It's harder to follow if there's a really rich conversation. And if it's a group discussion, this is not, this specifically means that it's not, it would be an individual group. So say Marie and I, you and I are on one group and we need to have a discussion together, and Nico and Kyle are in another group and they need to have a discussion together. And then you can, if it's graded, you can put the date and then you save and publish. So I went through that kind of quickly.
Eleni, can I just add one thing?
Of course.
One thing that I've done in the past to get students engaged more is to tell them that they have to post twice, once in response to the question and then once in response to somebody else's response to the question.
Right.
And that tends to get more conversation going. One thing I don't know how to do is how to grade for both of them. I sort of say that I'm grading for both of them, but I just simply grade just if I've seen them post. When I'm going through SpeedGrader or something, I can see that they've posted and give them credit for it, but I don't know how to do it for 2 times. Do you have any insight on that?
You can, I don't, because we've tried to do that and we haven't been able to yet. So if there's something that I don't know about and I find out about, I will tell you. You would grade them for that one discussion based on the reply. So if they didn't reply, you'd make the points the full. So for example, if I say, who is your favorite artist and why? It would obviously be a much richer question than that. But if I come down here and select graded, I can put in my points right here. And so if you're doing a grade base, you can do complete, incomplete, letter grade, GPA scale, percentage. Most instructors are using points. So if I identify and I'm clear with my students that the discussion, the reply to my question is 8 points, and then they get a reply, they can get 1 point for each reply to their peers. Or it's you either complete it or you don't. So it depends on how you want to grade, but my recommendation would be to take the points from the original discussion post. And that is something I highly recommend as you are creating your discussions, that you make it clear to the students that they are to have the reply to your question in by a certain day, and then make sure, then give them a day or 2 to respond to their peers, and have that be graded, because then they'll have some, depending on the class that you're teaching, it'll give some incentive for the students.
Thank you.
Hi, I have a question. Jill McGowan here. When you upload a video, is there a limit to the time frame for a video? And is it possible to upload documentaries or movies if you purchase something, say from Netflix? Is that an option? Or rented something?
Yeah, so we do have a limit on our upload per class. Depending on how much it is, you can reach out to Araminta or Paul to see if we can increase the limit you have for your class. So most of the time, if it's available through a link online, you would just link it into your discussion. But what I'm hearing from you is like a full documentary from Netflix. So if you download it, you want to be able to upload it into the discussion. Is that correct?
Yes, that was the idea. Something, that would be more in depth.
Yeah, so every single course has a limit for and we'll go into Studio and talk about that at the end. But there is a limit per class. So I know Kyle, I think we gave you an increase in data, right, on your site?
Yeah, I think that was just for the initial one, because we hadn't had Studio yet, but because we only had about 2 GB total.
Yeah.
And some demo videos that like 10 minutes are approaching that already.
Yeah, so Studio will help with that as well, and we'll go into that a little later on. But it wouldn't be in the you could link it into the discussion, but it's not going to be, you can't upload it directly into the discussion because of the data. The Kyle, go ahead.
So I've actually been linking like a YouTube video or another posting from another college that did a demonstration, and it's a little nice that it'll give the link and then it also has the video underneath it so that they can still play it directly there. It embeds it. So it'll still be uploaded within that page on Canvas. They won't have to go to an external location, but if they need to, the link is also there.
Right, so I'm gonna do just a really quick, would anyone like to see that? How that works? Okay, we've got some hands up.
Yeah, please.
Yeah. Yes.
So I'm just going to grab, oh, let's do this, how to grade. And
here, Serengeti past relief.
We're gonna unmute it, and so you go to the video that you want and you can click, there are a couple of different options here. Under share, you're gonna click share right at the bottom. And then you can copy and paste the link. There is the ability to just take the embedded information, which you don't always need, but if you want it just to show up without the link, you can copy and paste this and then put it into your discussion. So I'm going to, let's see, we'll go back to the link. And you can either, if you have a Mac, you can press Command-C to copy, or you can copy by clicking this button. And then we'll go back to our discussion board. Let's see, here we go. So let's say that I want to create a new discussion. So I'm going to go back to discussions. I'm going to click that big plus discussion button. And whoops, embedding, oops. We'll just put YouTube video here. And so there's an upload record media button here. And if you have an actual upload that you want to do, there's course media, which you can grab from your course files, which is also available from Studio. So if you make something in Studio, you can drop it in. And then if we want to link it, we can come up here and do an external link. And let's just put Canvas speed grader. I think that's what this was. And I'm going to paste the link in this box. And then I'm going to press done. So this doesn't show up. If you go to link options, it doesn't allow you to embed. So if you want to embed, you have to go, and this will actually, let's see, if we go and save it, it doesn't come up as a full video, like it's not embedded into the actual discussion. So if you don't want it to be embedded, just copy and paste the link, make sure it's a link. If you want to embed it, we would go back, go to share, click embed, and then copy. Maybe. And I do see there's another question. So I'm going to, let's see here, where is it? I'm going to click this right here and go to upload media. And then I'm going to click embed. So I could either record it, I could grab it from my computer, or I could embed it. So I'm going to take that embed code that I just got from YouTube. I'm going to paste it in here. And then I'm going to click submit. And the video comes up.
would it be the same procedure to embed a video in a module instead of a discussion?
It is. Yep. Yep. You can do this in you can do this in your assignments, you can do this in modules, you can do it in discussions, you can embed a video in announcements. That's a great question.
I was able to just put the link in my assignments, and the whole thing appeared embedded.
Oh, good. I'm not sure why. And
I'm not sure why that is either. It has happened to me too, where I'm trying not to embed a video and it keeps embedding it. And showing up.
Okay, so, and I wonder if it's embedded and you don't want it embedded. My suggestion, I don't know if this would work, but my suggestion would be to go to embed under upload record media and see if there's any embedding that's there that you can delete. That would be my, if you, but it doesn't look like there is. So I'm not sure, but I can probably get an answer to that if you want to get rid of a video that's been embedded and just have the link. Yeah, any other questions with this before we move on? I know there's a question about what replies look like, a student reply, so I'll get to that in just a second.
Actually, I still had a question on discussions.
Okay.
So if we have the group discussions selected, is that content viewable to all of the students, or is that just between the ones that you've assigned between the groups?
It's going to be with the groups that you've assigned it to. So it won't, and I'll double check on this. I'm fairly certain it's just with the groups you're assigning it to. So we can, I think there are, let's do group 1. And you can allow self-sign up. So that would be, it would be available if so there is, students can come into it with allow self-sign up. And I'm just going to create, whoops, sorry about that. I'll create one group and there's not going to be any limit. Let's see. And then I'm going to save it. So if I go to back to group 1, let's save it and see what it looks like. We'll go back to discussions. So this is going back to our discussion board. And I actually don't, it's not visible, at least unless I can't, can anyone else see it? I don't think it's visible.
It might be under the groups. So if you've assigned it to group, then if you go to groups, do you have groups on your
Well,
switch?
this is,
Yeah, there.
yeah, I can switch groups up here. So there is, but the question was, is it visible to others? So I'm going to need to get back to you on that because it is visible. We made it allowable for other groups, for other people to enter the group. But if you don't click that button, I'm not sure if it's going to allow for other students to see it. So I will get back to you on that answer.
Yeah, it's a question of putting together these peer reviews for the MFAs, and they're concerned of only having their content within their group being allowed to be visible by their peers. So the whole class does not need to see everything.
The whole class does or does not?
They do not.
Okay. So you can do, there's another way to do that with, or there might be another way depending on what your desired outcome is to do that through assignments and do peer reviewed and then identify who can review whose. But that may not be what you may want the whole discussion piece. And if so,
yeah, their discussions would be what is graded as they're discussing their content between each other, but I didn't want to have that allowable for the multiple groups together. It's just the small connection between their peers.
Okay, so let me get back to you on that, and I'll follow up after this conversation. Yep. So someone asked if we can see the what it looks like from the student's view, or how a student would reply. And I'm actually going to delete this because we don't want it in this. Okay. So if I go to home and then I go to student home page every time you go there. So we're going to click student view. And this is what the students see. So from a student perspective, I'm coming into the class and I see that module 1, part 1 is a design basics, and I'm going to go into 1.1. So let me see here. This is the actual module, and I don't know if the discussions are connected. So let me go back. If you want to get out of student view, you go down to the right-hand corner. And because the discussions are not published yet, let me see here. Let's go to, I don't want to mess with this. This is an actual class, so I have to be really careful what we do in this. But let's see. We'll go to discussions here, and those are not, but I think we can. All right, give me just a second. I apologize. I have to be careful of what what's published and what's not. This is not a real course. So if I go back to student view, which is over on the right. Oh my heavens. I apologize. I've got to get discussions up here for all of you. It's all published. Let's see. They basically see. I guess if we go back into this course, I think we can.
I had to go into settings to allow discussions to be visible.
Yeah, I don't want to make them because I'm in an actual course, so I'm just trying to find a workaround for it. If you go down to, like, if I'm right here with chat about it, the students are going to see exactly what we see, except for this extra additional. The questions are going to be there. It's going to be the discussion title, the questions there, and then they'll see all of their peers' replies. So it looks just like this on their end. And there's, if someone were to reply back to George, there'd be a reply below. Does that clarify? Even though you couldn't see the actual student side of it? Okay, any other questions with discussions that I might be able to answer? Looking at the chat. Okay. All right, so the next thing is how to use quizzes to make sure your students did the reading or look at the art using auto grader. So I love this. So for example, say you have a reading, but you don't want to assign a grade to it, or you just want to make sure they saw the video, and you have you can have like a couple of very quick questions that they'd watch the video, or that they read whatever you assign them to read. You'd go into quizzes on the left-hand side, and we're going to make a new quiz. So this box is going to pop up, and in order to do this, I would suggest you click on classic quizzes. We aren't going to have, the new quizzes is limited. It says it has more question types, but the speed grader component is not within it. So we want the one that has speed grader. And we're going to click on Classic Quizzes and then Submit. And so let's do a test quiz. And I don't want it graded. So for example, it's going to be, these are the instruction box, and you can find that right up here. So please watch this video and complete the quiz. And let's say I embed the YouTube video back in here. And so the students will see this as their instructions. And then as we go down to quiz type, we're going to want it to be an ungraded survey. Say that that's what we want. Maybe we don't, maybe you do want to grade it, and then you put a grade in there. And if not, you can do an ungraded survey. So from here, it'll be, you can add any of these options, and these options are really useful for longer, more important quizzes. For this, just to make sure that they watched the video or they read the assignment, you can, I would use this part of Canvas more. If it was a more detailed quiz and it actually had some weight within the course. So you can allow multiple attempts if you'd like. And you can let students see their quiz responses. So you can limit the amount of time the answer is available. You can have students see the correct answers after each attempt. And you can show one question at a time. You can require an access code or a filter IP address. You most likely won't use, you probably won't ever use this, but the required an access code might be useful for those bigger quizzes. But for the short quizzes, just to see if they did the assignment, don't use that part of it. So then that's for the instruction piece and how you're going to lay out your quizzes. So you have to put in the questions to the quiz. So you go to the second tab right here and you click on New Question. So I'm going to make this multiple choice, and let's see, we'll just do test question 1. And the possible answer, it could be that you have multiple answers. It could be that you only have one answer. It depends on what you're asking. It could be true or false. So there's all these different options here at the top. My suggestion to see if they've watched or read the assignment would be to, or listened to any audio, would be a true or false or fill in the blank. And so, or multiple blanks. So maybe the one possible answer they could give is that it's, we'll do like, just put in random answers here, distance learning. And so basically what this does is you can update the question, and what it allows is when the student comes in here, once they fill out the quiz, it's gonna auto correct it for you. So if they have either of those two answers in their reply, in their response when they're taking the quiz, it's gonna grade it. So they'll be able to see what answers they got right, and you'll be able to see on the graded side, under grades, you'll be able to see what it will automatically grade, and you'll be able to see it here in their grades. So that's a really fun tip and trick, and it also doesn't show up, if you don't have it graded, it won't show up with any points, but it'll still be visible. Any questions?
I find that works very well for keeping student engagement. I used to hate assigning quizzes because I wasn't interested in it, but by allowing for multiple attempts, I explained it to students that I was just trying to get everyone on the same page of using the language, so and the vocabulary before we moved on to the next module, and it worked really well to keep the students engaged. Unfortunately, they do respond to quizzes really well, and they could take it as many times as they needed to, but they had to get, you know, an 80% or something. I used graded quizzes in order to be able to continue. So everyone would eventually pass, but they had to go back into their reading to be able to actually pass.
Any other questions before we're going to go to the next hack that's on the list? All right, so we have, let me see, any questions? Making sure folks have time to write it if they have one. We do only have 15 minutes left. So if you need to come back to this is going to be recorded. You can also reach out to me and I'll type my email into the chat. So if you have any questions, we can set up a time to do a Zoom to go over this as well. So the next hack is use Studio to share demo videos or short instructional videos or accept videos from your students. So Canvas has this wicked cool thing where you go into Studio on the left-hand side, and without using your data, and we're actually looking, Araminta and I have done a lot of research on seeing how Canvas uses data to make sure that folks aren't going over their limit and they have enough. You can create a video here. So for now, it doesn't use any of the data in the classroom, and there are a couple of different options. So instead of going to YouTube or having a video on your phone and then uploading it to YouTube and then transferring it back into Canvas, like, whoa, that's a lot of steps. You can record it right here in Canvas, right here in Studio. You can also add videos here into Studio. So say you have a video that you really want to share and you don't want to upload it to YouTube, but it's on your desktop. You can add that video from your desktop. So for recording, I'm going to click record. I can do one of two things. I can record just myself and with any props or anything that I have. So think studio videos. I definitely want to record yourself and what you're doing. And then I can do screen capture. This is usually more, so you've got those two options, and the screen capture is a little more academic unless you're sharing where you want them to go online, or how, you know, if there's something in particular you want them to see on the web, screen capture is a great tool for that.
I just have a quick question on the screen capture. Would that work for anything that's on your screen, or does that have to be online?
No, that's a great question. So it's anything that's on your screen. So right now, if I click screen capture, it'll pop up. Do you want to allow this page to open screen recorder? Yes, I do. And if you don't have your settings allowed for your webcam, then it'll say it might say can screen capture, use your webcam. So it's also going to ask you to download it, which I already have it downloaded. And does everyone see that black box, the black and white checkered, or the frame?
No.
No, okay. So what it's not going to show you, I can't demonstrate this because of how I'm sharing in Zoom, but what I see here is I have a black and white checkered outline that goes all the way around the screen. I can make it big, I can make it small, and it also allows me to do both webcam or the screen or both at once. So this little black box will pop up and you can check screen, webcam, or both. So say you want the students to see you, and that can be really wonderful because they're seeing you, especially if you haven't been face-to-face in a while, and then you're navigating your actual computer in front of them. So whatever you have on your computer is what the students are going to see if you have it being recorded. And so then you can navigate to where you want to show them, or if you've got presentations you want to give and have your voice with them, there's an option there to record the presentation with you as well. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, so that, like, if I were to show them something on Illustrator, they'll still be able with that dual recording, they could see me actually giving the lecture about it and then see where I'm going, clicking on things to actually create the file.
Yes.
Perfect.
Yep. And then when you're done recording through the, and I'm so sorry that it's not popping up. This is one of the, some things in Zoom you won't be able to share unless you go back and change it. So, but there's a little box that'll pop up. You can stop it. It's really simple. Everything's right there. And you just press record. And when you're done, you press stop, and it asks you where you, it'll save it to Studio. So again, if you have any issues with that, let me know. Any other questions with Studio?
It's great.
Ed Marie.
Thank you. I yesterday was in a meeting where somebody mentioned that they were able to record like a 1 or 2 minute response to an assignment. Like they would write notes on the assignment, but then they would return it to the student, and the student would actually get a recording of them saying something about the assignment. Is this where you do that, or do you know, can you show us how to do that?
Yeah, so if you go into assignments, and this, I actually, I might do a follow-up video for this, Marie, because we're running out of time.
Oh, sorry.
Something, oh no, it's a great question. I'm glad you asked it. Is it okay if I do a follow-up video and share it? I can do that tutorial and share it with folks.
Yes.
But yes, you can integrate video options into feedback for the students in Canvas. Yeah. Okay. Nico, how much time do I have?
You've got about 5 minutes, really. I don't know if that's what we'll cover in 5 minutes. I don't know if people need to go either. We can go a little bit over.
Just had one other question for Studio.
Sure.
Where do those videos go? Where are they housed?
Yeah, that's a great question. They're housed in your Canvas.
So if the students are uploading, they still have their originals within their Studio section, and then I have it within wherever they've uploaded that.
That's right. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. If they pull it from, so Google Drive can be fully integrated in, your Google Drive can be fully integrated into Canvas, and the students can do the same on their end. And so they can also pull things from the like from Google Cloud. So there's some options there too. So they'd have it in Studio, and they'd also have it wherever if they created it in Studio, it would stay in Studio. And if they want to upload something, not only do you still have it on, they'll still have it on their end, but then you'll have it in Studio, and they will as well.
We could have them saved to our Google Drive folder if they upload.
That would be something you would have to do on your own and upload it to your Google Drive. So okay. If there's a video here, and I do have a course that has a video. I'll go back. I think my sandbox has a video here. So let's see if it does. So here I have 3 different videos. These are just demos. And if I want to, let's see, oh boy. I can download it right up here in the left-hand corner, and then I can bring it wherever I want. So if I download it, it's going to download onto my computer, and then I can save it onto my desktop. I can save it into Google Drive. Does that make sense?
Yeah, there's not an option to have them more seamlessly connect to Google Drive so that I don't have to download the video and then upload that again. That was some of the problems that some of the students were having.
From Studio. So if they are, just let me make sure I get your question correctly. So if they're making a video within Studio, can they just sync it to the drive? Is that what you're asking?
Yes.
Okay. Not that it says, not that I know of, but I'm going to get back to you on that. I haven't heard of that happening. I don't know if anyone else has played around with it. Studio was just put into our Canvas site, so I'm not as familiar with this as I could be. But I can get back to you with that answer. As far as I know, the answer is no. You'd have to download it and then upload it to your drive. Yeah. Actually, you might be able to access it through files. So for example, if I go into my files and let's see where the video is. Let's see, you might be able to pull this and drop it into your drive, because you'll see my drive is, I've integrated it into Canvas, but I'll get back to you on if it's possible, and if it is, I'll show you how to do it. I'll do a tutorial on how to do it. Okay, any other questions with that? Oops. All right. All right, so do we want to continue? There are just 2 more hacks that I can go through, and if not, we'll do a tutorial on them and send them out.
If others are available, let's keep going.
Okay. All right, so the next one is reports and analytics. So I think that was, let's see, I don't know if, oh, she's not on. I think Adrian wanted to know reports and analytics. So if I want to know my students' engagement and how much when they've logged in, if you get an email from a student that says they haven't been able to get into Canvas, you can see if they actually have, depending on what you need it for. But there's an analytics button that's over here on the right that says new analytics. So I'm in my course, I go to home, and then I go to new analytics. And this is going to pop up. These are great like frequently asked questions. So if you do have questions about where you're in, usually Canvas has something like this that pops up and it goes into more detail. And there's a Canvas guide that you can always access as well. So I'm going to close that for now. So for the students, and let me go to this one, because this one has a bunch of students.
You can use me if you want.
Okay, thank you. And I'm going to go to new analytics over here on the right. Oh, maybe. Oh, no. Give me just a second here. Jumped around a little bit. Okay, let's wait until they all, there we go. So I can see course grades, which no one has one right now because they haven't been graded. I can toggle on assignments, discussions, or quizzes, toggle on or off. So say I just want to see how my students did in their quizzes overall. This gives a great picture. So if you have a significant amount of students who haven't done well, that might be something you need to look at as an instructor to see, oh, maybe I didn't give the right information, or maybe I asked the wrong questions on the quiz, if it was challenging for students, or maybe students need to have a refresher on this subject before we move forward. So some neat little toggle buttons right here. And then you can see the weekly online activity. So the average participation, so how much do they actually engage, meaning like they clicked on something, they didn't just look at the pages. And then you've got your average page views. You can email this, you can download it. There's data table and display shapes that you can do. There are the resources. And then based on student, you can look at it as well. So Nico, we're gonna go down to you. I'm gonna click on Nico, and He has zeros. Poor Nico. So Nico's not doing too great in this class. But he's had some, you know, there were a couple of days where he had some good page views and some participation. And then what's the communication between instructor and student? And as of right now, there's been no messages between the two. So this is not it doesn't necessarily deal with a student engagement piece, but it's a really great hack to kind of get an overview of your class and how students are doing, and also to have this to refer to it with communication with students. So if you ever need to go back because you forgot what you said to them or what they messaged you about, this is a great little tool. Any questions?
I think that's great.
Okay. All right. So this is my.
Go ahead. No.
So this is my favorite hack of all of them. So I saved the best for last. So something that's great about Canvas is that if there's an assignment, whether it's graded or not, as long as you put it's great, you would have to click that it's graded. But as long as it's graded, you can have 0 points or you can have 100 points for it. They talk to each other and it's integrated. So what I mean by that is, that was a bad description of it. What I mean is that if I'm an instructor and I go to assignments and I create a new assignment, say it's something that I want to make sure shows up on my students' radar, but I don't want it to be graded, I can come down here and I can select do not count this assignment towards the final grade. It has 0 points. I can do all the assignment stuff here and then I would save it. So once it's saved and published and it's available to the students, that assignment I just created is going to show up on their calendar. Every discussion that's graded is going to show up on their calendar. So right now it looks like I'm doing pretty good with my, so for this class, for botany, there's the photosynthesis short film that's due on Wednesday, November 18th. So that's something as a student I would see on my calendar, and you as the instructor are going to see your calendar as well. So, and your calendar will have everything that is technically labeled graded will show up on your calendar. And the same thing with the student. Any questions before I move on to the next piece of this? So calendars, you can also integrate your Google or iCalendar into your calendar, but that's another hack for another day. And your students are going to be able to see what's due over here on the right-hand side. So they have a few places they can see what's due. They can go to their calendar, they can go to assignments, they can go to discussions, quizzes, or they can see the list on the right-hand side. So, and I will show you, and this is something that you can see as well, which is really handy. So if you go into assignments, usually it's listed, if you've published them and you've given them a date, it's listed chronologically. It's not listed chronologically on your end though. So don't worry if you come into assignments and you see this, we're like, oh, it's due August 17th, why is August 11th below it? On the student's end, it's going to show up as an assignment that is in chronological order. The same thing with your discussions and your quizzes. Any questions with that? Looking at my chat. I don't think I have. Okay. So those were the 5 hacks. The being able to sync your assignments, discussions, all of the graded things to your calendar and have them in multiple places to view. And then we went over the reports to kind of see where students are at, where the grades are at, if you need to change anything in your course. Number 3 was how to use Studio, and I'll follow back up with the questions that folks had that I couldn't answer. And then 2 quizzes that aren't graded or that are just to see if whether or not students have read or listened or watched an assignment that you have. And then interactive presentations via discussion board. Anything else? Any other questions?
Thanks so much for this, Eleni. It was really great. Yeah, a lot of good information here. Anyone else have any closing remarks or questions for Eleni or me? All right, well, thanks for joining. And our next one will probably be video production. I'm hoping, George, you're on here. I'm hoping George and a couple of other people have some ideas to talk about video production and maybe embedding a little bit more. Marie had that question about how to respond to students. So we'll have some ideas of various ways of accessing video and using it in these in Canvas and in our teaching. Thanks very much, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Bye-bye. Thanks.